All right, good morning. My name is Brent Stromwall. I'm a certified EOS implementer, and I have here today Garrett Erath. He is visionary for Exodus Design Build, and he and I have been working together. We started in 2019.
That's right.
Yeah. And you have since graduated from EOS, or from me, I should say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's just talk about that, can we?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So you called me in May of 2019. Do you remember this?
I can't say I remember the phone call. No.
Okay. I do, because it was very encouraging for me. And I was sitting in the parking lot over on State Bridge Road, getting ready to go into the Starbucks. I think it was a Starbucks. And you called me and you said, is there any way we can work together? Do you remember that?
Yeah. I remember the desperation.
Yeah. So tell us why. Why did you make the call?
Yeah. And there's so much about business, like starting a business and then not just starting it, but growing it, scaling it, systematizing it. I had a general idea for what I hoped the future could look like, but there was nothing of a roadmap. It was just a chasm and two disconnected points. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I get there? You were my first call, not only because I had heard about EOS, I knew that that was a good system, but also you and I had been connected for probably 2 or 3 years at that point through
Right.
Iron Forums.
Right.
And man, you had poured into me for years, and based on years of experience, it was a very safe phone call for me to make, I would say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for making it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So you said it was a chasm. What were you hoping to get from it? Well, let's go back. You said you'd heard about EOS. What had you heard, or how did you hear it?
Yeah, heard about it through Iron Forums. There
Okay.
were a couple of systems being talked about at the time, and EOS sounded interesting to me. I knew there was a lot of methodology behind it. I knew
Right.
there were books with it. I knew that it was a clear playbook. So that's really what I knew about it, was just the very basics of, hey, it's a way to systematize your business. It's a way to create processes, a way to think through everything. It is an operating system. And at the time, my operating system was kind of, what do I feel like I should do next? What seems smart to do next?
Right.
But I didn't know much beyond that.
And kind of just winging it?
Yeah, I
Whatever.
felt very alone.
Yeah.
Felt very unguided. And even as you told me the backstory of your company name, to know, okay, this is somebody to not just walk alongside me and just be a brother or an equal, but also somebody who will not only do that, but know the path before me and take me on a journey.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for remembering that.
Yeah, absolutely. Still can't pronounce it, but I remember.
You're not the
it.
only one. So tell me a little bit about getting started, and then the initial, I'm going to say, reactions you had as we were beginning the journey together. That first year or so.
Okay, first year. Yeah, getting started, let's call it the very initial meeting, spending 90 minutes together talking about the process. It was the sense of, okay, it's going to be okay. I now know not only are there solutions, and not only is there a guide, but can I even get on this path, was very encouraging for me. It's one thing to know that you need help. It's another thing to know that you can get the help and you know where to get the help from.
Right, right.
So that was huge. And then the first year was challenging. One thing that I was prepared for from you, I think there's also, I'm pretty sure Traction talks about this as well, is there's a little bit of preparation of, hey, everything's about to change.
Right.
It's all going to be different. Don't expect status quo on anything. Instead to know, okay, everything's on the table. What my job is going to be, what my company is going to be, where we're going to go. Am I still going to have the same staff? Like, what are our numbers going to be this year? What are we even doing as an organization? All that is available to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is helpful, because if the foundation beneath any of that is sand and not stable, great. Let's wash that out now and rip all the Band-Aids off and then go forward.
So you were excited, or maybe eager for that.
Eager for what I knew it would bring. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not exciting to me to think on like, okay, I'm about to blow up everything that's comfortable to me and everything that I know about. That was not, I wasn't
So a
eager
little
about
fearful.
that. Yeah, but again, to know that there's purpose behind it.
Right.
You know, if somebody approached you and just said, hey, can I help you blow up your business and just do away with everything as it is?
Yeah.
No. But can I help you blow it up and then make it something better than you ever thought it would be? And it's everything you would dream of, and I'll help you along the way. Sure, the explosion doesn't feel exciting, but at least there's hope behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's kind of like renovation.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What would you say were your greatest challenges on the journey?
Yeah, greatest challenges was there are times when self-perception is challenging for me. I started off the business with a partner, and then he went into full-time ministry. So I was, playing all the key functions of how the business operates by myself. Mm-hmm. And in that box, when you have to be all things to all people and fulfill every core function and handle every invoice, every receipt, you can lose yourself in business and not really know what your thing is, what your strength is. At some point it feels like you're doing everything at 75% of what it should be or could be. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty tough to understand, okay, as we establish roles, as we build out an accountability chart, where do I belong? What do I call myself? And then again, man, the big fear of just what is staff gonna be? That's always so hard.
Because you hadn't really had staff.
Right. Yeah, I had my partner that I started it with, and again, in that early season, he was actually moved out of state and was full-time on staff in ministry. So it was me, and then I had one employee who was running the operations of the thing, and it was just the two of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I started with you, or we started the journey.
Yep.
And what were the biggest challenges from that? Going through that process, and I can't recall how long we worked together. Was it 3 years-ish?
It was more than 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. My hope was that I would feel really secure, but at the end of 2 years, there was still that man, I love being able to call him Brent. I'm not ready to release that. Not that I mean, I still call you now, but but regularly. So yeah, the big challenges early on was making time, because you can decide I'm going to get healthy, and you can go get a gym membership, and then set the alarm clock an hour and a half earlier every day, and then go and then exert the full effort and do that consistently over time is really, really tough. And it felt more than that for me. Now it's, how do I make the time to do all the things that I'm doing, which at the time probably took 60 to 70 hours a week. That was just 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, and very full days, and I had a young family at the time. So to make the time to just run everything as I already was, and on top of that, now write order of operations, write processes, write job roles, write a vision, write what we're actually all about. Right. Take time away and only focus on the business. Take time every single week to only think on the business and not be in the business. That's got to be the hardest aspect to me early on.
Yeah. And how did you manage that?
I mean, tactically, everybody's going to have a different response, but mentally, it was just an acceptance of there is no other way forward. Yeah. It's either continue to put in 60 or 70 hours a week plus extra, and then on the backside will come a much more sustainable operation, or continue at what felt like full capacity and do that in perpetuity, but not have a clear direction for the future.
Yeah, so there's some hope.
Yeah.
You do it with hope and expectation that
absolutely
it's going to work. We have a saying within the EOS community, we say it's trust the process. And you said, it's eventually it's going to work. It's going to help relieve that strain of working 60, 70 hours a week. How long did that take for you?
To get to a point of sustainable work hours, or what specifically?
To start to recognize, hey, this is working.
Yeah.
I can see it. So there's a point where I have to trust it, and then there's a point where you just go, oh, I'm seeing this is happening, whether it's tangible or not.
Yeah.
You get the sense that this is actually working.
It started feeling like it was working in the first quarter.
Oh, really?
It didn't feel like all the solutions are here. Oh, right. It's all done now. I've got it. But to know, yes, this is what I've been longing for. This is what I've hoped for. Because the very first things are, let's create vision,
Yep.
and then let's figure out what traction looks like.
Yep.
That's the keys. Now the work isn't done. You're building out your order of operations. You're building out your scope. But to know this is exactly what I had hoped it would be, and then some, that came in the first 90 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And then when did it start happening for you?
Oh man, then you do have to let go of the vine at some point.
Yeah, that's right.
And that really is when you take the heavy plunges, the deep plunges of like, this is going to be, I'm actually going to go execute these things now. So that was a lot more around changing staff, the hard, scary things, the things that you know you have to do, but you're afraid of doing. So that took a lot longer because it's not just let's build out a fun future and talk about what it could look like, but now we got to hire somebody, now we got to fire somebody, now we got to tell our customers that we don't do that way anymore. Now in the midst of I need every job that comes my way, now I got to raise my prices. Those are things that really start to, you feel them a lot more, and those take time.
And when did it start happening for you in the journey, would you say?
Probably with either near the end of the first year or headed into the second year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's when you got to start really living it out.
Yeah. Yeah, you create the ideal playbook.
Yeah.
And you know this is what I've got to go do. And then you've got the accountability weekly, quarterly, annually of did you actually go do it?
Right.
And if I'm leading the charge of this is what we're going to do, then I got to pick up that mantle and go with it and really be the leader to show, okay, I said I was going to do this hard thing.
Right.
Here it is. It's done. Not just I'm on track, but it's accomplished.
Yeah, good. What results did you get from implementing EOS into the business?
Yeah, there's different ways to answer that. You could look at it year by year. The early results that we saw was we now had baselines for everything. Before, if I felt like my operations guy did something wrong, but it wasn't a written process, I couldn't say it was wrong because then it's my feelings versus his feelings or perception versus perception.
Right.
So those were some of the earliest results was just there's now clear standards of judgment for all things. And then second, not only do you have standards to measure by, but there's metrics. So as that you have your weekly level 10 meeting, there's a scorecard to go along with it. So now we're watching what are the most important metrics for the business and seeing how we can manipulate those every week. So early things in the first year, it was standards, it was having things that you can measure, and then really just knowing the ability to plan what's next and figure out where we're going.
Right.
So those were the early things, but then talk about closer to what we call graduation time. By then, the results were, man, we had staff in place, we had job descriptions for everybody, we knew based on the accountability chart who was doing what and who they answered to for those things. And then it went from solopreneur who's just trying to get by to a business owner, and I'm actually aiming for the right things and building the life that I had hoped for and the business that I had dreamed of. And what's different between those two images is doesn't have to just be staff, because the staff, you could do that the same. It's really just having a plan. Having a plan
Right.
and then knowing who's executing what.
You said you had staff, so you started out and it was you and one other,
Yep.
and you ended up, by the time you had graduated from me, how big was your organization?
Yeah, I think at that point we had 5 of us on staff.
5?
Yeah.
Okay. And where are you now?
There are 7 of us now.
Okay.
And then on top of that, we have a couple of 1099s who are working nearly full-time hours with us, but they still have other opportunities as well.
Okay. So nearly 9
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah.
So that's pretty significant growth.
Yeah.
Has that been difficult to achieve?
Difficult to achieve, yes. Yeah, finding the right people is always a big challenge. But difficult to achieve from the sense of, did you know who you were going to go hire and what they should do when they got there and how to do it? No, that was pretty simple.
Yeah.
Each hire became really exciting through EOS because it always felt like everything's on the line again. Here we go. We're going to make this huge jump yet again.
Right.
But we always knew what was behind it. We knew what that would do to the numbers. We knew that what that would do to the speed. We knew how that would serve clients better. We knew that this was all aiming in the right direction. So yeah, every hire was scary and hard and brought its challenges, but every one was also exciting and a breath of fresh air and new life into the business.
Yeah. From a financial perspective, and you don't need to share numbers, but can you give us an idea of what kind of growth you achieved over those 5 years or so?
Yeah, we're probably somewhere around 8 times in revenue where we were.
Wow.
So in terms of profitability, man, we went from just barely making it by what I thought as an entrepreneur was profitability, just looking at P&L or something, or looking at bank statements, it felt like we were making money. But when you consider setting aside profits and what you're going to do for them, it was basically nil early on.
Yeah.
And now we have strategy, and there's like positive net profit every year, and we're putting money away to save for general reserves, and we're putting money towards missions, and we're like giving money away and reserving money, and we have strategy to it. So that's so much harder to even measure, but the feeling and the peace that comes along with that is very tangible.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
thank you. What are some of the benefits both you personally have received as part of this journey, and organizationally? How has the organization benefited?
Yeah, I'll start with personal. There's no longer a weight on my chest. I don't work weekends anymore. I have time with my family. I'm doing the things that I'm great at, and then those things that I would say are in the quadrants 3 and 4, which I'm not great at, or I just don't enjoy doing. I don't do a whole lot in that area anymore. So it makes work so much more fulfilling. And when I'm focused on the things that I'm good at, and we've got the right people focused on the things that they're good at that I'm not good at, we still make fast progress on things.
Yeah.
So that's starting to blur the line between personal and professional, but man, to take the professional benefits that come from them just creates personal value. So very thankful for that. What it's done for the business, man, again, we have clarified culture. We know who we are.
Yeah.
We know how we act. We know how we behave. Nobody's watching over anybody else's shoulder. We just work openly as a team. And that's created a sense of we all know what we're doing here, and we all know why we're here. So in the fun seasons and in the hard seasons, the direction, the velocity doesn't change.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there anything that surprised you along the journey?
Oh, man.
Whether good or bad?
Yeah.
Just something that surprised you.
Yeah, it was full of surprises in a lot of ways. I mean, there was one time when we sat down in a quarterly and we planned out like a certain profitability metric. And I said, if we can hit that number, I'm just going to like throw up on my shoes. Like I don't even know what to do if that ever happens.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a sense of like, man, if we could actually be a profitable company with meaningful profits that could do great things, I don't even know how to handle that. And honestly, I meant it seriously. At the moment, it felt like there's no way to make that kind of money. And over time, we finally got there, and it was surprising. That was shocking. Like to know there's a sense of, I'll release from this, and I'll just say it's going to work out, and I'll hope and trust in the process. And you can do that with full faith and yet still be surprised when great things happen. Right. So that's where most of the surprises lie, is how could it actually go this well? And that was, for me, that was the most exciting stuff, is how can we attain these employees? How can we attain these clients? How can we run projects successfully and be not behind schedule on renovations and not be over budget on renovations and have clients who give us 5-star reviews and they're excited to work with us? Yeah. How could that actually be? You aim for it and hope for it, but then when you get there, as silly enough as it is surprising to actually hit those things. This is actually achievable. Yeah. We're doing it. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's awesome. Awesome. Why would you recommend, I'm assuming the answer is you would recommend EOS to an entrepreneur. I know it is because you have, thank you. Yeah. But why would you recommend EOS to another entrepreneur? Yeah, and I'm honestly, I'm cautious with the referrals, because some people, they will tell you that they want to see their business grow, but then when you have a brief discussion around what that looks like, it's not really business growth, and they don't actually want the hard things. They really just want to give you a list of complaints that they have for today and hopes and dreams for tomorrow that they're not actually going to pursue.
Right.
So there is a sense of some people really do mean it. You know that they're genuinely struggling, and you know that their struggles are valid struggles, and they were my struggles or other EOS people's struggles who I've seen come through this. So then there's that sense of, man, this person actually means it. They really do want to grow their business.
Right.
And the problems that they have, I can't fix them, and nobody in their current circle can fix them, but they really just need a clear road path for that.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of times that I want to really bring people over.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And why have you recommended me?
Yeah. Having a personal relationship with somebody makes a world of difference. There are other EOS implementers and guys who I know and trust and think are great. And what, like if somebody said, hey, I'm thinking about using this guy, should I? I wouldn't say, no, don't use them, only use Brent. Brent's the only good one. Because EOS is great, and I know these guys are good too. But what I have seen from your background is you are not a business consultant who's never done it. I've seen a little bit of your journey, seen your path. So when you make recommendations to us, it's not blind stuff that comes out of a theory book. It's stuff where you're saying, I did implement this in the past, or I didn't do this and should have in the past.
Right.
And you're giving real world examples that I can trust. And then on top of that, there's clear value alignment. So I know who you are as a person, and I know the way that you conduct yourself, and I've seen a lot of your life picture played out. I've met your kids. I know a good bit about you.
Right.
So for you to be the person to guide somebody along, that's a pretty easy thing for me to do.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me ask this question. What has Grace seen from this?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, my wife Grace, she saw me through all of the phases of entrepreneurship. But probably the strongest, most beneficial thing again is like that weight on the chest that I talked about before. I've struggled through series of anxiety and different seasons of life and different pressures. A lot of times where that comes from is not knowing what's next, not knowing what to hope for, not knowing where you're going. There was a season pre-EOS where I remember like we came home from a vacation, which was always tough in the early years, and I just had this like next to an emotional breakdown basically. I looked at bank statements and I looked at credit card statements and compared and realized like, man, this is not at all the direction I hoped this was going to go. Didn't know how to get out of it. Just like felt like I lacked true value as a business owner. I didn't know what I was doing. And now fast forward to where we are today. Yeah, we still go through seasons where the finances are tough, things are challenging, but there's not this directionlessness that comes with it.
Got it.
So Grace sees me go through hard periods now, but now I'm surrounded by people that we've built up through this. We've got processes in place. We know what we're doing. It's no longer this, everything feels broken and I don't know what to do about it. At times it's just this facet of the business is broken and now we have to go do this about it.
Yeah.
So that's big.
awesome. Great.
Yeah.
One final question. What if you hadn't used EOS in your business?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. There's only a few things that I would put in this category of what if not that, then what? EOS is one of probably three. And I think the answer is there would be no business today. If there was no EOS, then there's no guidance. If there's no guidance, then I'm spinning in circles and I'm the laborer and I'm the guy and everything comes to me. And the more staff I hire, the more problems I bring in. Nobody has clear vision. My culture that I would have created without EOS is just, it could be a banner of like, I don't know, just go back to work. There's so much that my personality is, I'm not going to think about the problem right now because I know something I can go focus on. I'm just going to go work on that.
Yeah.
So when people bring challenges or problems to me without an EOS-like guide, without something like that, man, I just don't think it's sustainable. I don't think I could have kept going. At some point I would get what my friend Randy Brunson calls a real job. He always cautions me about that. There's the sense as an entrepreneur that we feel at times like, man, when should I just give up on this fake thing and go get a real job?
Right.
And that's always like a big push for me. So yeah, without EOS, there's no clarity around what the future holds.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing as much as you did. And thanks for recommending EOS and me to others. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for the years of sacrifice and work with me and the way that you've been able to benefit me so much. There's no way to ever repay that. So thank you.
I love it. Glad to see it's happening. It's working.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
for you personally, and for Grace for sure.
Yeah.
And the family.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brent.
Your family grew during this time too, right?
Absolutely.
EOS can't take credit for that. I certainly won't. But that's awesome.